Welcome to Just Cook with Michael. Today, after watching this video, you'll know how to cook swordfish with a classic tapenade sauce. This swordfish dish is very low carb, keto friendly, excellent healthy meal. This is going to be served with a tapenade, which is basically a relish made from olives, onions, fresh herbs, olive oil, anchovy. It's a delicious combination, very Mediterranean flavors and very healthy for you. The ingredients for today's dish are, of course, swordfish, some fresh Italian parsley, some onion, which is going to be chopped up very fine, some fresh oregano, some fresh basil, some capers, sun-dried tomatoes. I have Kalamata olives and black olives, salt and pepper to taste. It's going to be about a cup of olives in total. You could use whatever combination you like. Feel free to mix and match olives. Will be one anchovy fillet. So just anchovy fillets add little salt and definitely add some complexity, which is always good. You want layers, just like the best artists, the best pictures have layers of depth. The anchovy in there, it's not overpowering. You might not even know it's there, but it just adds another layer of depth to the dish. And then it's also going to have some extra virgin olive oil. So basically, you can put all these ingredients, except for the swordfish, of course, in a food processor and just pulse it a few times until it gets to a consistency you like, and then put in your olive oil at the end and just stir it in. You don't want to put your olive oil in the food processor with the ingredients before you pulse it, because then you're going to emulsify the olive oil and it's just going to look a little cloudy. So it's best to either chop up all the ingredients or pulse them in a food processor and then put your olive oil at the end and stir it in. That way it won't make the olive oil cloudy. So usually it's a pretty fine mince. I would say anywhere from, almost a paste to probably like 1/8 of an inch. I like it a little chunkier, just so you can see the little individual pieces in there more than a paste, but it can be both. So here we go. The first thing I'm going to do is chop up the dry ingredients for the tapenade. In other words, these are a little, obviously olives have a little oil in them, a little moisture, so it's going to make the cutting board messy. So anytime I'm chopping things up, I like to go in an order of sanitary, dry, to like wet ingredients. And then say if I was cutting up chicken or beef, that would be the last thing I'd put on the cutting board. That way I'm not having to wash the cutting board in between steps. So here we go. I have my herbs. And you could use, some thyme in this would be fine. Some rosemary. Rosemary is a little bit tougher, but if you did rosemary, I would suggest making sure you chop up the rosemary very fine. You also could put some green onions in this dish. I'm not putting garlic this time, but you can put garlic in there. Anything that kind of has that Italian flavor to it. And the tapenade is just great on so many things, like chicken, a lot of different kinds of fish. It's great on like a bruschetta. It already smells so good. That's always a good sign where the first step is already making you hungry. I chopped up my herbs. I don't like them super fine, I kind of like to see the little chunks of fresh herbs in there. Another ingredient to improvise that's really good in this dish is like roasted bell peppers, maybe even some fresh bell peppers, or like the pickled red sweet chili peppers. Those are really good in here. Now I'm going to get all my wet ingredients and chop these up. Got my olives, capers, and I have 1 anchovy. The recipe calls for 1 anchovy. I think they're really good. I'm going to put 2. Now I'm going to chop up all the wet ingredients. Another little tip, when you have little jars of olives, especially like the very flavorful kind, like the green and the calamatas, save the juice. It is excellent in sauces, either to put a little bit in like a soup or a sauce, or if you were like just tossing fresh pasta with a little olive oil, then to put it, it is saltier and has a lot of times it might have like some acidity to it. So if you are going to pour some of this into your sauce or soup, reserve some salt until the end. But it gives such a great flavor. Obviously it has just an intense olive flavor to it. A lot of people throw it away, but it's excellent to add to a dish. One thing I didn't do from the beginning that would have been a good idea is to mince the anchovies separately before you start chopping it up, because obviously anchovies are pretty powerful taste, and you want to make sure the anchovies are almost to a paste consistency, extremely small. And now that I started chopping, it's hard to tell exactly where, if there's a big piece of anchovy in here somewhere. There's one right there. See, so if you got that big piece of anchovy, that'd be a little much. So when you start off, chop up your anchovy very fine, then add it into the rest of your tapenade. Okay, all our ingredients are in there. Now I just need to add a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. If you like these videos and want to see more, please subscribe and hit the like button. I was in Spain a couple of years ago. They use olive oil, maybe the way kids use ketchup here. I mean, they use it on so many dishes, and so much of it, you'd be amazed. And excellent olive oil. Okay, so that's in there. Now I'm going to put some fresh ground black pepper. I'm going to put in a pinch of salt. It's mainly for the onion and olive oil. So good. So good, and again, complex. Just the different olives in there, the little onion, the caper, the little, bite from capers are very acidic. So you got that bite from the capers being pickled, a little bit of heat from the black pepper. Excellent dish. Again, I'm going to cook the swordfish, put this right over. This even gets better the next day once the flavors marry a little bit. So here we go. Okay, I'll put in my extra virgin olive oil. My swordfish is already salted and peppered, both sides, and again, put it in away from you. Swordfish is an excellent fish, especially if someone doesn't really care for fish. It's definitely a good intro fish as far as it's not super fishy. The texture is kind of meaty and easy to cook, and it's just really, like all fish, it should be cooked to about medium rare. So I'm going to cook the interior of this to about 140. I have my thermometer ready. This will probably cook about 3 minutes on each side. Again, if you don't have a thermometer, I prefer you to cut into the fish rather than overcook it. So if you do 3 minutes on each side and you want to get a sharp knife and just put a little cut and look into the interior to see how it looks. But remember, once you pull it off, it's still going to cook some more, and you never want to overcook fish. Flip this over. The time it takes to cook this will obviously be dependent on how hot your pan is, how cold your fish was to start with. This fish, I had it outside of the refrigerator for about 30 minutes before I cooked it, and also obviously how thick you make your swordfish steaks. All right, my fish is at 145. I'm going to pull it off. So here's the completed dish. It smells like the Mediterranean. It smells so good. Now you can make swordfish of tapenade. Thanks for joining me on Just Cook with Michael. Now go out and cook with somebody you love.